हेलो भाई, इवेंट का लिंक चेंज हुआ है और एक बार सर्च करो और अभी का जो लाइव है ना उसको उसको प्ले करो तो वही 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 इवेंट का लिस्ट लिंक चेंज हुआ है। वही ICTS 15 जैन कॉलेज ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग बेलगावी बोल के हुआ है, देखो। आप सिविल डिपार्टमेंट
Hello. A very good morning to one and all present here. In the wake of knowledge revolution taking place around the globe, a new discovery is added to every field, almost every passing moment. This swift addition has made the world of science and technology all the more challenging and exciting. The more we discover, there is still more to be discovered. Hence, this is an unfathomable ocean. To keep abreast with the rapid changes taking place, it is most essential to familiarize ourselves with the latest emerging discoveries and additions. With this objective, Jain College of Engineering takes privilege in organizing the International Conference on Emerging Trends in Engineering Sciences to expose the teaching fraternity and the student community from various engineering colleges to update their knowledge. We all are here for the inauguration of this conference, and I, Professor S.M. Keru, on behalf of Jain College of Engineering, I am happy to have you all here. As it is customary, we begin this function with the JGI prayer. I request all of you to kindly rise for this prayer. We seek divine blessings before we proceed with the deliberations of the conference, and I request Ms. Rashmi, Sucheta, and Ms. Shilpa to invoke the blessings of the Almighty.
तुषारहार गवळा या शुभ्रवस्त्रांगिता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना शंकरा प्रबुधिते देवे सदा वंदिता सामां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषचाड्यापहा निःशेषचाड्यापहा निःशेषचाड्यापहा.
Thank you. We are glad to have distinguished dignitaries and delegates gracing this occasion. And I request Dr. K.G. Vishwanath, Principal and Director of Jain College of Engineering, to welcome the gathering.
A very good morning to all present here. President of today's function, Mr. R.J. Darwadkar, sir, Director of JGA Belagavi, Chief Guest and Keynote Speaker, Dr. Kannan from Victoria University, Australia, Mr. Jay Prakash, Chief Editor of ICETES CSE, Mr. Praveen Chitti, HOD, Computer Science, HODs of all the departments, and all participants of ICETES 15. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to this gathering to mark the inauguration of International Conference on Emerging Trends in Engineering Sciences. This international conference gives a platform to young engineers and researchers to present their research findings and have discussions and continue their research in the right direction. So about 7 to 8 months back, we thought we'll try to give an opportunity in the inlands of Karnataka, because normally international conferences, people think next of something very difficult, you have to go abroad, and then go to good places and do the things like. Many times we deprive so many young talents to present their proceedings in such international conferences. So what we thought was, why not we host an international conference at Belagavi, so that the people surrounding Belagavi as well as Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, all places, so that they can present their findings. So as a result of this effort, today you are all here. So we have with us today a very distinguished personality amongst us, Dr. Kannan Chettala Krishnan from Victoria University, Melbourne, Australia. Heartily welcome him from the bottom of my heart for this event. Extend a warm welcome to Professor R.J. Darwadkar sir for this function. Welcome, sir. Heartily welcome Mr. Jayaprakash, Editor-in-Chief of ICETES, the International Journal of Emerging Trends in Computer Science and Electronics for this function. Welcome Professor Chitti, convener of ICETES. I extend a warm welcome to all the distinguished personalities who will chair the various sessions. We have got 6 parallel sessions going on. So I welcome all those session chairs for this function. Also extend a warm welcome to all HODs, staff and all the participants who will be deliberating throughout the day. Also welcome present media to this function. Welcome you all. Thank you very much, sir. In Indian culture, light always symbolizes as a divine force that drives away darkness. This is very meaningfully put in the Sanskrit saying, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. This light also shows the path of wisdom. So now let's light the lamp to move towards this path, and I request all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly light the lamp of knowledge. Thank you, one and all. I now request Mr. Jayaprakash, Editor-in-Chief, to kindly brief us about ICETES.
Good morning to one and all present here. We are all here for the International Conference on Emerging Trends in Engineering and Sciences. First of all, I thank Jain College of Engineering, management and staff for providing this opportunity for you, for me, for all here for this international conference. Because we know that all that today the research plays a very vital role not only for the individual and also for the nation. Because a nation or an individual, whenever we are not updating ourselves in the research in the field of engineering or any domain, so we'll be lag behind the others. So it will be for an individual and also for the nation. So this kind of international conferences gives an opportunity for all the young budding engineers and research scholars for exchanging their knowledge and also presenting and making their research as a publication one like a copyright. So when we see that the promotion of the research, many colleges, as our principal had said, many colleges are not taking uh, this kind of efforts to come up with the international conference. So for the first thing, that Jain College of Engineering has given this opportunity for first time they have made this international conference. I'm happy for that and thankful for them for providing this opportunity. So from the beginning of the this signing up a MOU with the Jain College of Engineering and IJT CSE, I saw that all the staff members and the college management was very eager and making this conference in a very perfect manner. So they are all with us from the start of beginning. So they are guiding us and with which kind of how the paper selection will be there and how the promotional activities should be there and how the conference should be going to be held and every kind of thing they're being part of us and they guided us and they were with us in every part of this conference event. So when a call for paper has been announced for this ICETS, we got more than 300 of plus papers for the conference, and from that 199 papers has been selected. And here we are all for these all the authors are here. So from different domains, we can see the papers on different domains in cloud computing, data mining, and electrical power systems, power electronics, embedded system, robotics, and etc. And all the papers were scrutinized with various parameters, and they have been given points for them, and accordingly, the sessions have been also been today arranged. So I'm happy because today when we see that the research scholars or PhD people who would have known a funny proverb that copying from one paper is called plagiarism, copying from many paper is called research. So this happens because we don't know that how to make the research. So we have an eminent person today, our chief guest, Dr. Kannan, who is going to have a keynote session. So today we all come to know that many people, in case if you're not come up with the research, so he will show us what is the research is mainly. So because he's a motivational on towards research, so surely I'm sure that you all will be enlightened with the research today. This conference will be having an enlight to you towards your research, and you're all going to share with your colleagues' papers, so you all know about what is going on the current trends on your domain, if it is in cloud computing or data mining or anything. So, and I'm sure that this is going to enlighten your research activities. And also, I request all the authors not only to end up with this conference with one day by getting up a certificate, I all to come up with some research activities, not only from a simulation results, the end product for the engineering for which is needed to our country in agriculture or in engineering science or in power generation systems. So we need to come up with an end product that is an useful to an end consumer or a customer or a people, end people who's in our nation. So I all request you to make up the research activities throughout your life, even you are working in college or in IT professional or any other professional. So to enlighten with this, it will be a good end up for this conference for us. And last but not least, I thank all the authors for for presenting your paper here, registering your paper here, and sending us the paper and going to share your knowledge here. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We have with us Dr. Kannan Jagatal Krishnan, a well-known academician from Victoria University, Melbourne, gracing this occasion as the chief guest and the keynote speaker. I now request Professor Praveen Chitti, convener of this conference, to introduce him to the gathering.
good morning to one and all present here, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, participants of this conference, teaching and non-teaching staff of JC, and my dear student friends. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce before you chief guest for today's function and the keynote speaker, Dr. Kannan Jagtala Krishnan. Dr. Kannan Jagtala Krishnan received his Bachelor of Engineering degree in Mechanical Engineering from Bharatiya University, Coimbatore, India. He completed his graduate diploma in Information System Management from Central Queensland University, Melbourne, Australia. He received his Master of Business Administration from Victoria University, Melbourne, Australia, and Master of Technology from Swinburne University of Technology, Melbourne, Australia. He received his PhD from Victoria University, Melbourne, Australia. He is currently appointed as a Coordinator, University Education, Vision for Wisdom Education Wing, the World Community Service Center, India, for two subcontinents, that is Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia, for coordinating with universities in southeastern countries for implementing educational programs. He is appointed as authorized representative for Bharat University by the Vice Chancellor Dr. Punavaiko to promote its academic programs with Australian universities and Bharat University in India. He is also appointed as University Coordinator for Kalaslingam University by the Vice Chancellor Dr. S. Sarvanasankar to promote its academic programs in southeastern countries and Kalaslingam University in India. He has held teaching appointments at Victoria University, Melbourne, Australia for about 4 years, since January 2011 to December 2014, and in CSI College of Engineering, the Nilgiris, India for about 1.5 years, from September 1999 to January 2010, and in Government Polytechnic Uti, India for 1 year, from February 2001 to December 2001. He delivered his first keynote lecture in the International Conference on Power Generation Systems and Renewable Energy Technologies, organized by International Islamic University, Islamabad, Pakistan, and he was provided with VVIP protocol throughout the conference during the year 2010. Thereafter, he has been invited as chief guest and guest of honor to deliver inaugural speeches, special and valedictory addresses. He has delivered keynote lectures during international conferences and guest lectures for more than 45 institutions in India and abroad. He has published around 30 publications in peer-reviewed journals, conferences, and poster presentations. He is a life member of Indian Society of Technical Education, that is ISTE, and member of International Association of Engineering. So with this brief introduction, may I present before you chief guest for today's function and the keynote speaker, Dr. Kannan Jagtala Krishnan. Welcome, Mr. Now I request President of today's function, Dr. Ajit Arwadkar sir, to present a memento and bouquet to the chief guest, Dr. Kannan Jagtala Krishnan. Now I request our beloved principal, Dr. K.G. Vishwanath sir, to present a bouquet to Mr. Jayaprakash.
Thank you, Professor Praveen. May I now request the chief guest, Dr. Kannan, to address the gathering. Later, the technical sessions will commence with the keynote address by Dr. Kannan.
Let us welcome you all and greet you with your own language. Namaskara. See, when I visited my last conference, which is in Jain Engineering College, the chairman is having more than 21 institutions. So yesterday when I come in here, when I was talking with Sridhar, I was just trying to understand what the institution is doing and what the faculty is, where they're coming from. And he told me that they're having a lot of institutions. He gave me a number of more than 200, but I clearly browsed yesterday and saw that the institutions having more than 86 institutions total numbers, including colleges, research centers, preschools, and play schools. Definitely, like I'm very happy to be here in a very big organization. And this is my 45th keynote as well as the international conference attending at this stage. And first, let me talk about the institution for a minute, then the management, then the staffs, then the students, then the delegates. Then let me talk about a little bit about the science as well as engineering. And when I landed here, and they told me that this is the first international conference. And I've been for many conferences, even I've seen the conference hall, the way the structure is, the way the delegates are. And we know that behind every success of man, there is a woman. But definitely, firstly, let me congratulate, definitely this will be a grand success. And you don't know that behind the success of this conference, there are untold stories of trials, losses, failures, humiliations, and miseries. So let me congratulate the convener, the principal, the management, as well as the editor for the success of this conference. Secondly, when you talk about the management, I've seen the management. We have the chairman. I've browsed about his vision and his mission and what the notes is given in the internet. Then there is another chairman for this institution. Then we have the director and the principal as well as the convener. So last night I was thinking about some personality. Let me relate. So what kind of personality they can be if they're given a chance at the higher level. A person who is having a lot of institutions and interested in more education sector, definitely the only person I can relate with the chairman who's of all the groups, Jain groups. I compared him with the super personality Abdul Kalam. Then I thought about the next chairman, the way his physical figure and the way he is written here. In your, I've read some of his notes, what he has written in the newspaper as well as in the website, and then I thought the best personality I can compare him with only with the current Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So I had a short talk, not even 2 minutes, with the director right now. And when we're discussing about the research, he told I'm from economics background, and he told that whatever research you do, you have to do the research that has to be implemented. It can't be for not even 1 or 2 years. It has to be for a long term. Just we were talking in the way. So, and he is more interested in the financial and administrative. The best personality in India, if you see who's good in finance, was our previous Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Let me compare your personality with Manmohan Singh, sir. Then if I see the principal is from a civil background, then I saw his research and interest and everything. But if you see the recently World Cup as well as India was smashing, and even the last year we got it. But unfortunately, they lost with Australia. But still, I'll give you another chance to lead the institution as a captain, Dhoni, sir. Next time, good luck. And yesterday, I saw the IPL, the Bangalore. They won the second match, smashing, and Virat Kohli was very happy. So the convener, the only personality, is very happy today of the success of the conference. Let me compare him with Virat Kohli. If you see the editor, we have been with him for last 3 to 4 months, and I've not seen him before. And when I used to talk to him from Australia, he was very polite and he's very energetic and dynamic. And when I asked him in the previous conference, like I would like to compare the personality with Rajinikanth of Tamil Nadu, he told, no, sir, please don't tell Rajinikanth, because I want to become Dr. Rajkumar, because Dr. Rajkumar is famous in Karnataka. Please let me know that I'm Dr. Rajkumar. And last but not the least, I would like to tell something about the Sridhar. And while talking with him in the car for half an hour, he was too much emotional. He was very emotional more because of the first conference, and he has taken a lot of initiative. Then I told, okay, Rajkumar, what do you want me to contribute in the conference? He told, can you please kindly tell me that I am the hero Sudeep, sorry. So I told, definitely I will convey this message in the inaugural talk. Let me really come to the research. My dear brothers and sisters, let me talk about real research about science and engineering. If you see today, we made a big blunder. If we talk about in the last institution, Jain Institution Engineering College, they named the auditorium as Albert Einstein Auditorium. I just straight away started with Albert Einstein. When you see the great landmark equation today, E is equal to mc squared, we have done a very big blunder. It is not E is equal to mc squared, it is E is equal to mw squared, which I will convey in my keynote. And second thing, where you are talking about gravity, since more than 280 years, we are studying the gravitational force as full. Definitely, there is no gravitational force at all. So let me also convey a detail in my keynote. But if you go and browse in your mobile right now, just type, because everything is possible today. If you type EMRP, gravitational push theory, and when I was talking in a conference, like Newton was talking in the same conference when he was delivering his message, he was telling that when you throw an object, it is falling down on the earth. And he was sitting in under apple tree, the apple fall on his head. So he was doing a research and he was just conveying a message. He was telling that whenever any object is dropping down to the earth, it is a gravitational force. So if let us assume that today our director sir is the chair of the conference. So during those times in 1680 to 83, Dr. Bentley was chair of the conference. He was a friend of him and he loved him and he told that, yes, Newton, you're right. And if you see, Newton is a philosopher and he denied what is gravitational force. If you really type and see right now, he has written 4 letters. If I go back after the conference and if I'm a philosopher, if I'm a consciousness, I tell that I write letters to our director and letters, his name is Dr. Bentley. And I write, you sometimes talk about gravity as essential and inherent to matter. Pray do not ascribe the notion to me for the cause I do not pretend to know what gravity is. He clearly mentioned that he don't know what gravity is. But what my friend does is, because he loves me, he takes all the letters and put in his drawer. And after that, 12 years time, then by the next person coming, the science has become gravitational is force is full. Just think about this. When I was talking about this in a scientific conference in Australia, and there was a big research CEO for 86 Commonwealth countries. I don't want to mention the name, but everyone knows this. And I told that this was a greenhouse conference, and they're talking about the global warming. Today, the most problem are three. One is food, second is water, and third one is energy. And we are always fighting between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu because of energy. You know very well that. So this is the main problem. You could see that. And she was talking about the global warming and the definition and what Australia is doing. I raised my hand. I was a PhD scholar at the time. I was not a staff. I was not a doctor. I told Madam, after her keynote, I told I have 3-4 questions. And I raised my first question. Today, the definition of a global warming is when the sunlight is heating the earth and going back, the man-made greenhouse gases, which is like a wool cap, traps the energy and makes the earth warmer. If that is the case, I told, today, if in Coimbatore, in Bangalore, the weather temperature is very high, why we are climbing to the hill stations? Why we are going to Ooty? Why we are going to Himalayas? And if the sun is over here and if the sun is here and the earth is here, if the sunlight is hitting the earth and going back, when we are approaching towards the sun, when we go in flights, when we approach towards the sun, the heat must be more and the light must be more. Will you agree with me? If the sunlight is hitting the earth and going back, definitely the heat and light must be more towards when we approach it towards the sun. But what is the reality? When you approach towards the sun, the temperature will be negative and there is no heat. Then how come the sunlight is hitting the earth? It is not possible. And if the water level is increasing, for example, if I push the mic or if I push him, then only there will be impact. How come there will be impact without a force? How come the water will come to the land? If the gravity is pull is true, how come the water, we are talking about only 2 centimeters of rise of water level by 2100, not even we have reached so far. So if that is the case, how this water is coming to the land? If the gravity is pull is true, if the gravity can pull tons and tons of buildings, if the gravity can pull a human body of 50, 80 kgs, if the gravity can pull this building, how come the gravity can't pull 1, 2, 2, 10 centimeter of water and why this coming to the land? When I raised this question, she was not able to answer. I also made another few questions like carbon sequestration. For example, if the carbon dioxide is above the atmosphere, and when we're having so much of impact, and the US government has given so much of funds, and the Australian government, the Prime Minister, when she was Julia Gillard, she has taken a big project of carbon sequestration. And I told that when the carbon dioxide is above atmosphere, and we have so much of impact. What happens if the carbon dioxide is going inside the land and water? Carbon sequestration means collecting the carbon dioxide, injecting inside the earth or water, and we have to have monitoring, we have to have storage, and also we have evidence in Lake Nares in Cameroon. 1,700 people died because of a small leakage of carbon dioxide. So when I raised this question, they told that he has got insulted, and the managers came back to me during lunchtime, and they told that you have to apologize my CEO because you have insulted, you are a student, you can't ask these questions. I told okay, arrange for a meeting. And the first day, it was a 5 days conference. Even you can browse today, and you can see in mostly it's in Queensland, and it is a 5 days conference. It was in Cairns 2011. So first day, only 5 students were selected, and I was one among them in Australia. And I told, okay, arrange for a meeting. And CEO was there. They gave me a cup of water. I had the water, and 3 managers was next to her. And they told that he has come to apologize you. Then I told, after having a cup of water, I told that, Madam, I didn't come to apologize you. Your managers invited me to apologize you. Then I told like, see, this is the thing what you're telling. You're telling about my concept is wrong. If my concept is wrong, give me the answer. I will never apologize you. What I'm telling is right. And next time, don't do this. See, the knowledge what we have is only the size of the palm, but what we don't know is the size of the universe. Doesn't matter if you're a student, doesn't matter if you're a staff, doesn't matter if you're expert. Knowledge can be from anyone. We can't be up to the mark. So I told and left the place. The next day, they sent a letter to the pro vice chancellor that I have to be sacked from the university. So just 1 month before my godmother died, and I went back, and my professor, he asked me, still I have the email I can forward to the management or to the principal. And they asked me that, can you write me a letter that you've been mentally retarded so that we will try to save you from PhD? Then immediately I have to write and I have to take a leave of absence. Then this started, and when I was talking about the same concept, all the way talking about me, I'm a mad for more than 1 year. I challenged with all the delegates, with the PhD scholars, staffs in the whole university and from other states as well. And I told that till the day I publish a paper, maybe a journal or a paper, stating that ECMC is called is wrong and gravity is called is wrong, then I told I will change my dress. And for the last 3.5 years, I was wearing only black and white. And March 22nd of this year, I changed my dress, which JP knows very well about this. So let us come. Then when I went to the conference, students were asking me like, you have been studied many degrees in Australia as well as India. How can you compare the students with Australia and India? So I told like, used to tell like a story. I told them I went to a museum for US, and more than 200 countries brains were participated in the museum, and all the brain was ranking. And the highest brain was $10,000, but the cheapest brain was rated only $100. And I was surprised that most of the other countries' brain were rated very high at $10,000, $9,000. And I was completely stressed that the Indian brain was ranked only $100. So when I went them and asked, because even though I'm a citizen of Australia right now, my heart beats only for India. I know only one line in Hindi, where they'll say Hindustani. So I asked them like, how come the Indian brain is so less? They gave me two answers. One answer they told me is most of the other Western country brains are not found everywhere. Only Indian brain are found everywhere in the world. When everything is found everywhere, there is no demand. Whenever there is no demand, the price will go down. So they told me Indian is the best brain. That's why they rated as $100. So you guys are the best in the world. You have to accept it. And second thing, when you come for the engineering, I've talked a little bit about the before going to the engineering, let me talk about one word about the energy particles or God particles, how the mass is created. And we given a wrong Nobel Prize 2 years before, and we have declared, the world has declared that the Higgs boson is the energy particle or a God particle. Most of them know that. And my research concluded that any particle which can be decayed, which can be separated, any particle, if the size is very small, that can't be energy particle or a God particle. So I've declared that Higgs boson is not the energy particle or a God particle, which I will convey what is exactly energy particle and how its energy particle starts from the space. I will explain in my keynote. UPCOC is the energy particle, a God particle which I've declared. I'm waiting for next few years. Definitely hope I will get the Nobel Prize. Without I can challenge anyone, definitely I will do that. And when I go back to the engineering, today as we have talked about water. I don't want to talk much about water because I can't go back to my state. So better let me talk about energy. See, when you talk about energy today, we are talking about solar, we are talking about wind, but completely solar and wind are outdated today. If you see the next, the world leading power will be hydrogen. And what will happen to the solar and wind? If you see today, it is impossible to produce hydrogen at a low price, but there are lots of innovation. If you take in India, IIT Kharagpur, they're producing hydrogen with the same price of fuel like petrol and gas, but they're using a bacteria strain. They're producing 40% more, but again, it is in a small scale. If you take MIT, they're injecting a bacteria virus known as M13. They're producing hydrogen with the same price of fuel, petrol and gas. Again, it is in a small scale. If you see Peninsula University, they're producing hydrogen by using aluminum alloy, where they're using less than 5% of gallium. Less than 5% of gallium means you can easily uh, make it very cheap for the same price of petrol and gas. And if you see Victoria University, where I'm coming from my research, we conclude that by using 3.1 liters of water, we are producing two full tank, 150 liters, 115 bar. Again, it's in a small scale. So the day we can produce twice the energy required for the world, definitely we can completely stop the thermal plant. So in Australia, by next 20 years, by 2020, we are trying to eradicate 20% of thermal power plant, energy coming from thermal power plant. And if you see India, if you compare with the developed country Australia now, Australia is leading in production. It is out of 15th place. It is in 16th place. It's not even in first top 15. Whereas India, in the volume production wise, we are ranking in the 5th place in the world. And in wind, we are in the 4th place. The first is China in wind, and first is China, second is US, and in solar, first is US and second is China. So we are doing very well. And what will happen is all the solar and wind will be converted only to produce hydrogen because this is only the storage technology. So nothing can become. So in future, we are talking about only after 2018. My research concludes that 85% of the energy will come from hydrogen, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. Till 2030, there will be lots of innovation in hydrogen, and all the solar wind will be used only to produce hydrogen and store it, and hydrogen will be the world leader. The more research in power will be in hydrogen. And again, when I was talking about the implementation of 61850, if you have any fault between two power lines, what happens if there is a big fault? To avoid that, we call a relay, like if in Bangalore, there are lots of vendors like ABB, Arriva, Omicron, all the vendors are located in Bangalore. They're doing very well. And in future will be for the power engineering, IEC 61850. For the computer science, definitely there is a cloud computing. And for mechanical, only laser technology will grow very well in next 5 to 10 years time. So always you have to have both the backgrounds. Just having a single background, definitely it is not possible. So see, the benefits of nature are everywhere in the universe, but the secrets of nature only inside your own mind. Try to go in and in, you will get more and more. Make sure that if you are an engineer, you will become an engineer. If you are a scientist, you will be a scientist. No one can take away from you what providence is allotted for you. Just keep doing your work, and definitely you will achieve. You will be there. And at this stage, definitely we will be deviating. We will be deviating in most of the things because I have crossed the same age, and everyone in the front we have crossed the age. So one's child, one's life partner, and one's master, and one's friend, all outcomes of karmas, both inherited and added after birth. So definitely nothing can be changed. You just keep doing your work. Sridhar told that be careful when you're talking with the delegates who are coming here. He told that they are more intelligent. When I see it right now, they are not only more intelligent, they are also like the heroines of Karnataka you call Ramya, Shruti Hasan, and all the heroes are like Vijay. And I'm very scared to talk. Whatever we know is, as I told you, the size of the palm, but what we don't know is the size of the universe. I take this opportunity to thank you for giving me time to talk about, share my knowledge. Definitely, I will share more in my keynote. If you're interested, please sit down. And I thank the management, staff, especially JP, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you once again. For
Thank you very much, sir. That was really interesting, and we look forward to your keynote address. I now request all the dignitaries to kindly release the proceedings of the conference. Thank you. I now request Professor R.J. Dharwadkar, Director JGI, to kindly give his presidential remarks.
Dr. Kannan Suktal Krishnan, Mr. Jay Prakash, Principal, my dear faculty, and the participants. I'm extremely happy to be associated with this international conference. Before I reached this venue, I was sitting with our keynote speaker, Dr. Kannan. He told me that there is nothing like gravitational pull. I said anything that is thrown up has to come down. He said no, there is no gravitational pull. I was happy because I thought I'll also start flying in a couple of weeks. Then he talked about renewable energy, replace it, so many things he told me. I was happy to hear it, as ignorant about all those things, because it is not my area, not my field. But people are doing a lot of efforts to make human life better. A couple of days back, for a week I was in China. I was flabbergasted the way they have progressed. There was one of our associate by name Mr. Peter. I asked Peter, what is this? I had altogether a different kind of imagination about China. He said, sir, whatever has happened, it is because of the research in different areas of science as well as social sciences. It is mind blowing. You just cannot believe it. There is a saying that Chinese want to show you what they want you to see. It is not like that now. You can visit any place, any corner of China. They have made a tremendous progress. And I tell you, this progress is mainly because of research in different areas of science. Benefits of that research has reached the community. So you have published a lot of papers, you have a lot of ideas, you have done a lot of research work. Research work, I think, it's a continuous process. You keep on adding to what you have done. So do it and see that your research efforts are put to practical test, practical use, so that humanity at large will benefit. With these words, at times you don't have to speak when there are intellectual results here. I have nothing to say. At times ignorance is bliss, I believe. Right? So with this, I wish this conference tremendous success. Wish you all the best. Good day.
Thank you very much, sir. We now begin with the technical sessions, and it will commence with the common keynote address by Dr. Kannan. I request all the dignitaries to kindly occupy the seats of the dais and request Dr. Kannan to take over.
Again, good morning, brothers and sisters. I've given only 30 minutes. I will try my best to do in 30 minutes because this topic it takes 2 hours. So because of the lack of time, let me try to fit in, try to make you understand the main concept rather than going around. I don't need any slides, but definitely I will show you the thermal power plant. You have to understand, we are talking about the greenhouse gases and thermal power plant, but you have to understand how the greenhouse gas is giving as a culprit and making damages to the world. Before that, let me start with the physics, again come back to engineering, then I'll go back to the physics and engineering. Within 10 minutes time, I will show that, and this video is only 5 minutes. So, before starting the video, let me talk about for 5 minutes, okay? See, if you talk about in 1680 to 83, the major scientists, Newton, Einstein, were talking about only the four physical quantities, space, time, matter, and energy. What Newton told was, all the four quantities are independent and they are not dependent. So what happened? For example, when he was talking in the same conference, let us put our principal is the chairman now. So when I was talking that whenever I throw object and it is falling in the earth, so I'm telling that this is gravity. So if that is the case, the definition of what we have today is interaction between two objects is known as gravity with respect to the earth. If that is the case, if I give you two objects, can you interact this object without a push? Only with the reference to the earth, whatever you're throwing is falling down. So can you interact same two objects without a push? Definitely it is not possible. When the scientists were asking about what is gravitational repulsive force, he puzzled and he was not able to answer. Then he goes back and he tells very clearly, as I mentioned it before, he tells in the second letter, dated 1682-83, and he tells to Bentley that you sometimes talk about gravity as essential and inherent matter. Pray do not ascribe the notion to me for the cause I do not pretend to know what gravity is. This gave me more motivation to learn more about the global warming. The real definition of global warming today is wrong. I will explain how it is wrong. Then after that, he writes a small quote that I am a small child playing with pebbles and marbles, but the whole ocean is lying in front of me, and he leaves that and he goes back. And because Dr. Bentley puts all the letters in the in the drawer, and after 14 years they discovered there were 4 letters, and by 14 years time nobody have the guts to come back and tell that gravity is not good, and they were not able to prove. After 200 years, Einstein comes back to the world. And he talks about the same four parameters, space, time, matter, energy. So when he talks about space, time, matter, energy, he says space, time are dependent and matter, energy are dependent. What he does is, he takes the same object, he goes to the playground, and he throws this both objects parallelly in the ground. What should happen? Whenever you take two objects or a ball, and when you throw in a ground parallelly, this has to go parallelly, right, in a straight line. Does it goes parallel? Definitely not. You can try, whatever may be the case. What happens is whenever you throw the ball, it makes a curvature after a certain time, it makes a distortion. It meets, it intersect and it meets together. So in a fraction of a second, Einstein thought that the space is, the space is dependent on time And because in the space, when you put an object, he says that mass is acting on the space. The definition given by Einstein was the mass is acting on the space. So he says there is a distortion, it is a curvature, and he clearly tells that there is, if you go and read Newton's gravity and Einstein's gravity, Newton's gravity says it is a gravitational force, Einstein's gravity says there is no force at all, it is just a distortion of the curvature, and that is why gravity is. So everyone accepted. But today in physics we have standard model of physics. Standard model means this is the best theory which is completely proved by 99.9999% with experimental proof. So even today's standard model, the physicists did not understand the gravitational force to the root. That's why they are not able to still define what is gravitational force. There is no such gravitational force. And after 8 years' time of Einstein, Einstein made it very clear. See, you have to have some philosophical background. The depth of the science will be revealed only to the philosophers and scientists, not only for the scientists. How it happens is only when you reduce your mental frequency, when you get back from the state of forgetfulness, and when you go back to the state of awareness, this can be achieved by only reducing mental frequency. If your frequency is between 14 to 40 cycles per second, that means you're in the emotional mood. When you reduce between 8 to 30, automatically you'll be intelligent students. When you go from 4 to 7, you'll be the top scientists in the world. So by nature, they got that frequency. That is the only reason why we're not able to achieve that. And after 80 years of time, we call Vedatri Maharshi from Tamil Nadu. He is a saint and he was studying only 8th standard. So he was trying to explain the gravity. Gravity is not pull. He told that gravity is self-compressive surrounding pressure force. So I learned the unified force from another person, my master from OT, his name is Satyamurthy, and this motivated me. And this gravitational force and this concept motivated me to learn more about energy, more about global warming impact. When you talk about the global warming impact, let me now clearly make you understand what is gravitational force and what is global warming, how it is related, how it is interlinked with physics and engineering. Then you will understand very clearly what the concept I'm talking about. Okay. And if you see now, if you see this video, this is what we are talking about, the global warming, the culprit of the carbon dioxide, the culprit of everything. And now you can see the train is coming and unloading. It will be unloading the coal, and after some time, and you can see the coal is unloading, and you can see here the fine particles. It's like a fine powder. It has been crushed here in the feeder. And now we are lighting the fire here in the. Once we light the fire here, what happens? This is the cold water coming from the river or ocean, and this cold water gets warm, and this is the hot water. And you can see this is the carbon dioxide. The solid particles are collected here in the precipitator, and only this is the carbon dioxide. If you see now, we are having electricity. That means whenever we have electricity, there is an emission of carbon dioxide gases. This is the culprit of the whole global warming impact, what we know as, which is also referred as climate change. What happens? This hot water becomes steam, and this rotates the blade. And when the blade is rotating, the generator is rotating. And you can see here, when you see any thermal power plant, you will see a lot of steam here. This is not carbon dioxide, this is just the water. Don't get confused. Whenever there is a chimney, this is only the emission of carbon dioxide gases. This is just the water which is coming back, the hot water coming back as cold water. And now you can see there are magnets and brushes inside the generator. And the generator, this is a transformer. You can see the flow of electrons. This flow of electrons are produced as 25 megavolts, and we have a transformer which increases the voltage. You can see the fast. This may be 500 volts or 600 kilovolts, depends upon the country. And finally, you can see there, this is the step-down transformer. Again, depends upon the country. We have 220 volts or 240 volts, and finally we get the electricity. To get the electricity, constantly you can see that there's the emission of carbon dioxide. So the topic is unified force and its relation with God particles and global warming, create for green energy technology. This is a mix of both science and engineering. This is the data of engineering and science, and we don't have any other theories compared to the gravitational force or any energy particles. Next, please. After 80 years' time, what happened? A saint from I told Veda 3, he told there is no gravitational force. He met two prime ministers of India. One was Jain, and he was trying to explain his concept, but because he studied only 8th standard and he studied 3rd standard in private tuitions, he has studied 8th standard, and he was, because he is not a doctor, his philosophy can't be reaching in the science. You have to become a PhD scholar, you have to write a scientific paper, and you have to publish, then only the paper will be published. Even if you are a student, if you have great ideas, completely that will be blocked till you become a doctorate. This is my own experience. So what he told, self-compressive surrounding pressure force. This is the philosophy what I learned from him. Today the great philosophers, scientists are philosophers. If you take Einstein, he made a very clear statement, science without religion is lame and religion without science is blind. Why I am telling this is to make sure that he is a philosopher. And he made another statement, when I compare all the theories with mighty reality, they all are trash. However, these are the finest theory what we have today. So this is known as, this is what his concept to make sure that he is the philosopher. And when he told, I made my mind that definitely I will study 8 degrees and I will bring my this philosophy to the science because I was a student. That is the only reason when you see I have done 6 degrees, like 4 masters and 1 PhD and 1 Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering. My PhD is in electrical engineering completely. There is no relation. My MTech is in nanotechnology and laser technology, and my MBA is in administrative. And also I have done Master of Marketing. One person was asking why you have done Master of Marketing. I told I'm a promoter, I'm an instrument. I want to sell this theory to the world, so I have done Master of Marketing. Now I'm targeting on physics, my next PhD, to bring all the science back to the science. I guarantee you that the whole physics is wrong. So can you go next, please? This was my first keynote in Pakistan. I was given VVIP protocol. That means that because I'm having Indian background, they gave me 7 days with the black hats for staying in the government guest house in Pakistan. Next, please. Next, keep going. Keep going. So the reason why I put the world map upside down, the only reason is the whole physics is upside down. We have to make it. Purposely, I've done it. We are going in the wrong direction. We have to change it. That's why purposely I put the world map upside down. It may take by 2020, definitely the theory will reach the world. This is my target. And when we're talking next, when we're talking about the global warming, next, quick. Okay. See, just stay there. So this is the current definition. Very carefully observe it. When the sunlight is hitting and going back, I will give you a small example. When you take a stone wheel and when we make the knife sharp, right? We are making the knife sharp. The stone wheel is rotating and the knife is static. And this is rotating. So you can see at the initial stage what happens. When we keep the knife towards the stone wheel, there is a pressure created. And after that, you can see there is a sound. Then next comes there is a spark, and you can clearly observe the smoke is coming. The first state is known as pressure, which is magnetism, and the second state is known as electric. We get sound, and the third stage is known as chemical. We get smell and taste. See, carefully analyze. Whenever we take it the spark is going back. After certain few seconds, you can't see the spark. Where the spark is going, it is merging with the space, right? Today, if you see, let us assume this is Earth. This is floating in the space. Does Lord Krishna is holding the Earth, or Jesus is holding the Earth, or the principal is holding the Earth, or me? No. But this is floating on the space. So what is the meaning of the floating on the space? If this is floating on the space, if I take a small a rubber ball, and if I keep on compressing, wherever there is a gap, there will be a bulge. Will you agree with me? If there is no gap, the same rubber ball, I compress on all 360 degrees and 360-degree directions and angle without giving a space. What happens? Definitely, there is no bulge. So, we have 3/4 of water, we have 1/4 of land. If there is a gap, what must happen is the shape of the earth must be in a different shape. The water is there, if there is a gap, the water must flow in a different direction. And the earth's direction must be, it can't be like a sphere, it has to be like a star, right? So if you agree that If we clearly agree, the water is not taking a different shape. That means there is no space in the earth. Will you agree with me that it's in the earth? So that means if there is no space, that means the space is holding the earth in all 360-degree and 360-degree angles and directions. The space giving is giving equal force. That is why the water is coming to the land. If the gravity is pull, today we are talking about global warming. First of all, the sunlight is not hitting. What happens is, because the space is holding the earth, and this is the planets are not rotating. This is known as the cosmological movement of the universe. We have seen the map of the solar system. We know that everything is in elliptical order, it's moving in an egg shape. But nobody so far, no physicist has written why this is moving in the elliptical order. The simple example, I am standing in the middle, and there are three people standing around me, maybe then five, then maybe nine. Let us make 50 circles. So 50 circles around me in a circular direction. And for example, if nobody is crushing me, what will happen to me? Nothing will happen. I will stay like that. If everyone are giving equal force and they are crushing me in all the 360-degree angle, what will happen for me? I will be completely crushed. I will try position. Will you agree with me? When there is equal force on 360-degree directions and angles, I will try to escape from this place and I will try to move. So the quality of the space, this is known as quality. This is the quality of the space. First, we have to understand what is the quality of the space. The quality of the space is nothing but self-compressive surrounding pressure force. Because let us assume this is an object or one particle. Don't think that Earth is an association of energy particles. Let us assume Earth as one particle. This one particle, what happens is when it is completely crushed on 360-degree angle and direction, this can't stand there. It is trying to escape and it is trying to take a direction. As I told you, when you have, if you keep compressed, you can see that the volume decreases, but the pressure increases. What happens if you keep on compressing and there is no gap? Assume that there is one particle in the middle. It is trying to escape, and when it's trying to escape, it is taken the right hand direction. That is why it is moving in elliptical order. This is known as the cosmological movement of the universe. So now let us talk about the global warming. What is the relation between physics and engineering? And if you see as per the current definition, the sunlight is hitting and going back, but definitely the sunlight is not hitting the earth. This is very clear. And if sunlight is hitting the earth, anyone have to prove me that why we have been approaching towards the sun, the temperature is less, the light is less. Anyone can give me the answer, then I will agree with you that sunlight is hitting the earth. At the same time, I give an example as the dynamic, when the sparks are moving, it is merging towards the space. So what is happening is the friction between the space, because the space is tremendous force, it is compressing, keep on compressing like in all 360 degrees. So the point in the middle, it is trying to escape, and that is why planets are moving. Planets are not moving on its own. The planets are forced to move by the space. So when the planets are moving, there is a rubbing force, there is a friction between the space and the planets. So due to the friction, as I told you, the dynamic is the planets and the static is the space. And initially what happens, a small forces, when there is a friction, the space is giving all 300 direction a tremendous force, and a small force is emitted because of its rubbing force friction. This is known as repulsive, and that is known as attractive, and a small layer is created. This is known as magnetism. The first event is known as magnetism. And the second event, after magnetism is created constantly, because the space is again giving tremendous force, and there's also a small force, repulsive force is coming from the planets, because this is constant, what happens is the